Hello everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com, back again with another very interesting news piece. We have news of a meeting between WWE and IMPACT Wrestling officials which took place last week. What could that have been about, and what are the potential future ramifications? Also, we have news regarding the Super Show-Down and the matches on that card, mainly that a stipulation has been agreed for AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. And also last night on SmackDown, there was a #1 contendership match announced for that WWE Championship. Who's involved, we'll find out in just a second. And finally, of course, we're going to take a look at news of sad news really, news of a superstar who has unfortunately been released from WWE's developmental program. So first of all, according to PW Insider, there was a meeting last week at some point between high-ranking officials from IMPACT and high-ranking officials from WWE. Apparently IMPACT were represented by Scott D'Amore and Ed Nordholm, whereas WWE were not represented by Vince McMahon, but apparently members of Triple H's team were there in the meeting. There's no real word on what the meeting was for. In fact, it seems as though it might not have been for any specific purpose, more just a reason to get everyone in the same room and all meet each other and make sure that both companies are kind of on the same page. It's very different from the days when Jeff Jarrett was in charge of, TNA rather than IMPACT. And I guess it took a more combative approach towards WWE. I mean, they had guys like Russo involved, Bischoff at times, Hulk Hogan went there at one point, and every time one of those figures were there, it was all a very sort of us against them kind of thing, whereas everything that IMPACT's been saying recently seems to suggest that their attitude is more a rising tide lifts all boats. If wrestling is doing well generally, then it's an excuse or a chance for every wrestling promotion to benefit as a result. I guess for more on IMPACT's attitude, look out for my interview with Scott D'Amore, which is coming out on the channel fairly soon, and he says some very interesting things about the direction of the promotion generally. But at the same time, this news is very important, I guess, because it shows officially that WWE have far more of an interest in enjoying a working relationship, I guess, with IMPACT. We know that they've since used footage since Anthem took over. They've since used footage for documentaries on the likes of sort of AJ Styles, footage of Samoa Joe, that sort of thing. And maybe in the future, that bond could really strengthen. In other news, the stipulation has been announced for AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe at WWE Super Show-Down. I should point out as well that on SmackDown, it was revealed that there will be a #1 contenders match for that championship between Daniel Bryan and The Miz. But back to the title match itself, because it will be fought under a certain set of rules. Those rules will see AJ and Samoa Joe face off in a match which is fought under no disqualification, no count-out rules, and there's also the little nice ominous tagline, there must be a winner. Now, various people online have already reacted with sort of bafflement to this stipulation, including Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio. His point was that it doesn't really make any sense because, of course, at Hell in a Cell, there was a winner. This would have made sense if there was a no contest, such as in the Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman Hell in a Cell main event. But in this instance, there was a winner in the match. It was AJ Styles. He was just announced as the winner under controversial circumstances because obviously he tapped out before the referee came down with the 3 count. He had Samoa Joe in a pinning predicament, but still tapped out of the Coquina clutch before the count of 3. So it seems as though this is the all wrong stipulation for the scenario, but I guess it means that we do get the benefit of a no DQ match between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, which is of course going to be hard hitting. I imagine AJ will be bumping all over the place, and hopefully it'll be a really good match. It's a match that could well steal the show in Melbourne, Australia. But as I say, it is a strange one just because of the whole idea that it would probably have fit Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman's feud a lot better than this one over on SmackDown. But there's a lot of great matches to look forward to on that Super Show-Down card, especially now that the #1 contendership match has been announced between The Miz and Daniel Bryan. There's also a few other title matches taking place, and of course the huge match between Triple H and The Undertaker. But further down on the card, we've got Cedric Alexander taking on the home country boy, Buddy Murphy, for the Cruiserweight title, and the New Day, the SmackDown Tag Team Champs, taking on The Bar for those titles as well. And finally, speaking as we did earlier of the relationship between WWE and IMPACT Wrestling, unfortunately, it seems as though a former IMPACT star has been released from WWE's developmental system. That name is unfortunately Mahabali Shirai. Now, those who watch IMPACT may have remembered Shirai from a few years ago. I think he wrestled in IMPACT from about 2013, 2014 till 2017, whereupon he signed a developmental deal with WWE. He was never regarded, I guess, as the crispest or most technical wrestler, but he had a certain thing about him. He had a certain way of getting the fans behind him. He did, of course, the Shirai Shake, a dance which I guess they hoped would catch on a little bit more than it did. But obviously WWE saw something in him and took him on board. And hopefully, I guess, for Mahabali Shirai, this will be a learning experience and he can go back to the indies and take the experience he's learned in WWE with him, and hopefully it'll enhance his career rather than rather than take it, I guess, as a sign of a disappointment. So that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching this quick little news video. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. You can follow me if you want on Twitter at JackTheJobber. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic and check out our Patreon too, patreon.com/Cultaholic. And never forget, of course, to hit subscribe and to join us.